Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Thank you all so much for coming. My name is Carrie Suhu, and I am one of the coordinators for VIA's Social Impact Leadership Accelerator program. VIA is a nonprofit dedicated to promoting cross-cultural understanding across the US and Asia. I'm very excited to welcome Team Rangoon today. They are community leaders in Myanmar who are making their vision for social impact a reality. For several months, I've had the opportunity, along with my co-coordinator Hannah To, to have the opportunity to work and support them through VIA's Social Impact Leadership Accelerator program. Their mental health education project, also known as Positive Note, provides a safe space for Myanmar youth to have meaningful conversation and connect with professionals through peer-to-peer support, counseling sessions, and workshops. They want young people in Myanmar to evaluate mental barriers, hardships in various communities, backgrounds, and gain emotional understanding, as well as demonstrate new knowledge based on social psychology for mental well-being. And with that, it is my pleasure to introduce and pass on to Team Rangoon.
Hi, hi. Can you hear me clearly? Yeah. So first of all, I would like to welcome to joining our session today. So let me share my screen first. All right, so welcome. Thank you for joining our session today, and we'd like to talk about our project, which is also known as Positive Note. Yeah, so first of all, we'd like to introduce our team members of our team. So first of all, Nemo, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello everyone, my name is Mimo Dadansiato. It can be a very long name for Sam Standard, so you can call me Mimo. And I'm currently studying medicine at University of Medicine Yangon, here in Yangon, of course. And Pu-Wen, would you like to introduce yourself as well?
Yes, so my name is Pu-Wen, and I'm attending Yangon University of Economics, so I'm an applied economics student. And I also aspire to be a healthcare economist in the future. So this is kind of like my passion project together with Nemo. Okay, so for our today's speaker series, we kind of like divided our contents into four. So we're going to be talk about our why do we start this project, and a little bit about our project introduction. And second, the main platforms that we are going to use during our project implementation, and then like the potential assumption outcomes, and then lastly about our project target timeline. So first of all, before we start presenting about our project, we would like to ask, how are you guys feeling today? So if you're feeling excited, then please give a heart, and then if you're feeling happy, a clap, and then if you're hungry, then maybe you can give a thumbs up. Yeah. Here, I'm starting to see some heart shapes, heart emojis, and then some good claps. Yeah. All right, so thank you guys for giving emojis. And then, yeah. Moving on, so which city are you in right now? So I guess everyone's joining from different places, so maybe you guys can type in the chat box which place are you in. Yeah. All right. I see some answers saying California, Japan, Myanmar. So a lot of people joining from different places. Yeah. Okay, it's great to see a lot of people joining our session today. So. Okay, so all right, moving on. So passing on to Mimo, so she will be making an interactive poll about our project mental health. So she will drop the link in the chat box. Yeah. So.
Thank you so much, Movement. So please just wait a second. I will start the session and then drop the link. Okay. If you have any difficulties joining, please let us know because it's a bit.
Yeah.
It's a bit sort of a transitioning to a different website. So if you have any difficulty, please let us know. Did anyone get the link? Okay. Oh, I already see answers pouring in. Oh, excuse me. Oh, we already have 4 responses. That was fast. If anyone has any difficulties, please really let us know. Okay, we'll be giving a few minutes before closing the poll now. So
Maybe you should share the full results. Right?
Oh, I'm waiting for everyone to answer first.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of responses and everyone's giving very different and interesting answers. And I'm going to close the poll in about, I'll give it a minute first. Okay, then not everyone has answered, but for time's sake, I will be stopping the poll now. You can answer the next questions if you haven't. So I'll be stopping the poll. And then I'll screen share to show you guys. Excuse me. Show you guys the results. So here it is. So we can see that here lots of people answered, well, actually 2, but answered important, but we can also see that mental health is a very broad subject and everyone has different ideas and understandings about it. So if there's anyone in the audience who likes to elaborate more on their answers, it would be very welcomed. For example, from me, I agree with the notion that mental health is very complex because it's such a very touchy subject and is very important to a lot of people, like it said so here. And that's why I believe that we should approach mental health in a very cautious and sort of mindful way. So that's why I agree with the notion that is very complex. So if anyone here also wants to elaborate more on their understanding of this mental health, it's very welcomed. So is anyone?
Hello.
Hello?
Oh yeah, sure. So I'm gonna stick on the points of like important and essential. because like we normally like ignore the mental health, like when we are physically pain we go to doctors or someone, we do that, but we mostly forget about the things that mental health is also important and essential. Yeah.
Oh, I agree with that notion, especially around here in our country where conservative thoughts are more of the majority. People do take care of their physical health when it comes to it, but when it comes to mental health, people turn to brush it off. So as a fellow Burmese, I think that we have a sort of we're on the same sort of understanding of this term. Anyone else likes to go, or we can move on to the next poll? Okay then.
Sorry.
Sorry, Yuki, go ahead.
I just want to share, this wasn't my word, but the word private. I think often we think of mental health as like a very private thing. We try to like keep it kind of in our homes. But one thing that I realized, when people in my family have mental health issues or something like that, it affects a lot of people. Like it affects family members, it affects, coworkers and things like that. So something that we have decided as a society is very private is actually has a lot of public consequences.
That's also a very interesting way of thinking that. I also agree with that. It is very private for us, but it can have sort of an impact on the people around us as well. So yeah, it's also very interesting. So I'll stop sharing, and is anyone still in the poll? Because I'm about to open the next question in the same website. So if you're out of the website, I advise you to go back in it. Can anyone see the questions, or is anyone having difficulty understanding? Oh. Wow, the responses are really quick this time. I'll give it a few minutes as everyone is, like I said before, having trouble. Please let us know. Oh. All right. I'll be stopping the poll now. It's a bit of a complicated process, so please bear with me. I just wanted to start a conversation about mental health first. So I'll be sharing the screen again. Excuse me. Surprisingly, actually, a lot of you guys are feeling anxious today. Well, I'm also very anxious to get my message across today, and although I feel a bit sort of worried about not being able to, I guess, get the message of our project across to everyone today. So I am also feeling anxious. Is there anyone who wants to like share why they're also feeling anxious? Because that's a lot of the majority are feeling quite anxious here. Or is there anyone who wants to share why they're feeling happy or satisfied today? Like, just to get to know each other better.
I could share.
Oh, it's okay. Go ahead.
I chose happy, and I had a very busy, full day, but it felt productive. So I think doing things that when I feel like I've gotten things done, it makes me happy.
Actually, I'm the opposite. I have a very busy day ahead of me today, so I guess I'm about to feel productive. So I guess in the future I'll just answer satisfied. But now I'll go with anxious. Is there anyone else who wants to share how they're feeling today? To get the atmosphere going. Okay then. I'll stop sharing again, and we'll move on to the next poll question. Oh, excuse me. Can anyone see the question now? I'm anxious to share why I'm anxious. Oh, I didn't read the chat. I'm also anxious to see why I'm anxious. Answers are pouring in. Ooh. And we're done. So I'll be stopping the poll. Actually, for me, I would say yes as well. There's been a lot of time where I feel sort of unsure and unmotivated about the things I enjoy, and enjoy what I'm doing, setting up this project for the mental health of our young people. So sometimes I kind of feel unsure about myself, and that sort of demotivates me for, I suppose, a week or so, which is a little too long, but it can happen to me a lot. Like, does anyone wants to share their experience here as well? A lot of some, I wasn't really sure, but some people say I'm not sure. I'm very interested in that sort of response though. Why is that? Is there anyone who wants to share? I'll give it a minute in the chat maybe. Oh, excuse me. Oh, I can't really see the chat here, so.
Memo, can you repeat the question again? Sorry, I missed it.
Oh, it's just that, would you like to share, an explanation for your answer? Maybe.
So from my point of view, and also including me, is not because of I lost interest or something, just because I pretty feel tired, want to take a break or something like that. Yeah.
Sort of I guess, burnout, I guess. I experience burnout a lot as well. Sometimes I feel like I'm being lazy, but sometimes you just have to sort of distance yourself from the things you enjoy to actually remember why you actually enjoy them. That's my take on it.
Totally agree. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll be moving on to our last question. Please give me a second. Closing this poll. Can anyone see the question? Ooh. Oh. I'll give it a minute. Oh. All right, I'll be closing the poll now. Oh. Whoa. All right, I'll screen share. Oh, family is a large factor here. So it's sort of a personal reasons, I guess. I also, well, actually, I'm still a student, so I guess I can't really understand the sort of things happening around in, I guess, familial situations. Oh, also see something interesting: political crisis, conflict. Actually, that's the ones that have been affecting me the most because the situation here in Myanmar hasn't been very good, and a lot of factors, a lot of things stopped, and a lot of things are moving at the same time, like sort of our education and also like works and jobs, they've stopped because of what's been happening here, and sort of felt to me like a lot of things are happening a lot at the same time, but a lot of things have stopped for me at the same time as well, like the progress I've been making towards my goal and actually towards helping everyone. I feel like those progresses have been stopped because of this political conflict that's been happening here, and a lot of things are going on as well. Like I've been losing a lot of my, this is a bit personal, but a lot of my close friends because of this. So yeah, that's been really affecting my mental health a lot these days. And does anyone else want to share as well?
Share. It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. One thing that I think about is, in my work, I like one thing that I get a lot of energy from is getting to meet people, especially young people like you. And so in the pandemic, when we don't get to, spend a lot of time with each other, like just hanging out in a hotel room and just chatting and eating snacks, I think that's when a lot of the connections happen. And so not being able to do that, I think, has been really hard.
Yeah, it's been hard too. I guess I can talk to my, I guess, close relatives and friends through, I guess, Zoom like this, like connecting with everyone through this, but it just doesn't feel the same when you can't really see them in person. Yeah, so I completely agree with that too. I want to meet my friends like in real life soon too. Does anyone else want to share before we move on?
Yeah, I wanted to share about it. The external factor which influence my mental health is the people around me, especially the close people I regard. I, I consider, yeah. As I'm an emotional person and I can absorb the emotions around me. I feel healthy when I'm in the healthy environment, and I feel toxic when I'm in the toxic environment. Yeah, I'm that sort of like I'm an emotional person.
Oh, actually, I also relate to you a lot. I also feel like I'm also a very emotional person when it comes to a lot of things. So yeah, I think we connected here. Okay, so I'll stop sharing now, and we will move on to our next section, which is the presentation. You're not. Oh, and I think from this poll we were able to sort of connect in one way or another. I actually relate to a lot of your answers, so it was great. So moving on to our presentation, where we'll be introducing our project. So first of all, what is Positive Note? It is a mental health education project with innovative platforms. Our project was dedicated to provide a safe space for Myanmar youths to have meaningful conversations and connect with professionals through peer-to-peer support, counseling sessions, and workshops. And we want the young people of Myanmar to evaluate their own mental barriers, their own hardships, and come to terms with them in their various communities and their backgrounds, and then gain emotional understanding about themselves and about others if possible, and demonstrate new knowledge based on this social psychology for their own mental well-being. Hang on. Okay. So how does this come to be? Despite the growing interest and recognition that mental health has been receiving lately in Myanmar as well, not enough resources are being created specifically for the young adults like us who find it difficult to open up, as well as the youth who who notice their loved ones struggling with mental health and wanting to help, but they lack the significant knowledge and means to do so. I myself was one of them. This is a very personal sort of story, but just wanted to share. So it was a while back ago, maybe like 1 or 2 years ago, before everything happened. We had our university entrance exams, and in Myanmar, education is a very important thing for the youths. Like if we don't get into a good university, it's the end for us. So it was a very stressful time for us, and my friend suffers some sort of depression. I wasn't able to talk to her a lot about it, but she expressed that she had sort of thoughts about, I'm sorry, it's very sensitive, but self-harm because of her studies not going very well. And I wanted to help her, but I just wasn't able to sort of I don't really know which organizations I should reach out to actually help her, or what kind of methods I should approach to actually support her in any way. And her mother thought that in Myanmar, it's a very conservative country. So we believe that religion is the key to helping people with sort of mental health problems. So they sent her to like a monastery to sort of meditate and calm herself. Although I think that's sort of very dangerous because we weren't able to properly diagnose her sort of problems and treat her properly. So I just wanted to also get rid of this stigma that religion can, religion is very important. Of course, it's important culturally, it's important spiritually, but I don't think that it's sort of the proper way to actually help people and get them back up. So this is how we sort of thought of this project. Moving on. So, of course, our mission is to engage the young adults and students in social psychology workshops and peer-to-peer support sessions. And our vision is for the Mama youths to gain more mental health awareness. And so we'll be going more in detail for our main goals in our project. So first of all, mental awareness for the Myanmar youth to have better access to peer-to-peer support and counseling, and emotional agilities for our participants to understand the importance of emotional agility, which is like an ability to experience their thoughts, emotions, and events to reveal the best of themselves. And design and development for the participants to gain knowledge about how UX product and urban design and tech tools can affect our mental well-being. And finally, sustainable thinking for participants to know how to create a positive future for themselves in their everyday life through sustainable thinking. Oh, so we sort of did like a Google survey to see how the situation of mental health in Myanmar specifically, because it was sort of, this came to be because of our personal sort of mindset on the topic. So we thought that maybe we should also ask for people. We wanted to know if people from the same country in the same situation feel the same way. So I will be sharing the results that we have in the Google survey. Oh, wait. Excuse me for a second. All right. Can anyone see my screen? So of course we asked them for their profession, which is mostly students because we were targeting students. And we also, picked the survey from adults, but we weren't able to get as many as we wanted because of the situations and the things happening around us. But yeah, we mainly targeted students. That's because that's our main demographic for our project. Other stuff for personnel. So we asked them about their opinion of mental health of youth in Myanmar specifically, and many were very negative. They say it's very toxic, it's very bad, and that most are unfamiliar with mental health, which unfortunately sort of confirms our worries about how people are unfamiliar. It's very rarely talked about in public, and some adults, they say that we get emotional and depressed easily, which I say sure, of things that have been going around, and people are saying that it has reached the worst situation. And yeah, it's very sort of negative in for a lot of people. Seriously feel depression and insecure, it pretty lower than what's needed to be, it's crumbling. Some people say it's they have no idea because it's we just don't have enough information about how things been going among us youths as well. So, and we also did surveys on if people have participated in mental health counseling sessions or groups or any event, and worryingly, not a lot of people have participated in it, which I think is a bit telling, because we sort of like did our survey on different schools as well. So we have government schools, which the majority of students go to, and international schools. International students, they do actually have counselors in their schools, because in government schools, the lack of funding, we don't really have that sort of emotional support for us in our schools as well. So we don't have anyone to confide to in our schools as well. And this is very telling because the 13% all came from students who go to international schools, which are very sort of expensive for most Burmese children and Burmese families. And also, it's a bit of a minority around here. Most students go to government schools, which actually the school funds are very, very low, and the school fees are also very low. So that's why funding wise, it is very lacking. And we also see that a good majority of people actually want to participate in a mental health counseling session or group to actually better themselves. So it is not like an unpopular sort of opinion in Myanmar that people don't want to, express themselves better. They want to, but just they don't know how to. And a good majority of people also want to learn more about mental health because of the lack of education on the subject, as well as we see here. And so we will get to that later, but our project is planning to familiarize people about mental health in like sort of entertainment mediums, so that people can get to know and be more aware of the subject, which is very broad. As you all know, mental health is a very broad subject, and it's very so we want to go with a more friendly approach to that subject by maybe we can make a book recommendation sort of page for people to read more about mental health, like great book. There are many great books about the subject, translated in Myanmar as well. And a good majority of people want to actually watch videos, educational videos on this subject, and which is very interesting actually. And we also see that people want to participate in mental health education workshops where they get to know how to maybe like care for their mental health, care for their own mental health, or actually help their loved ones get through hard times as well. So we asked, what kind of topics would you like to see in your workshops? And a lot of people want to take care of themselves first, of course. And a lot of people also want to help their own loved ones. This answer was a bit cut. This option is a bit cut off because of the word limit, but this one says topics on how to support and help those around you who are struggling with mental health. And a lot of people do want to do that, as we can see here. And like how do I put this? A common opinion Burmese people is that we like to keep to ourselves, and we think that it's a bit rude to sort of open up to others, I suppose. So it's a bit encouraging that a lot of people are moving away from that sort of stigma that Myanmar people are very closed off and mental health is a very taboo subject, because a lot of people actually want to participate in group therapy sessions as well, and actually want to share their own stories and want and also want to hear other people's stories as well. So that's that was a very encouraging answer for us, because we always thought that we Myanmar people always wanted to be in this sort of private they want to put more of a private barrier to themselves. So it's a bit encouraging to see these answers. And that's about it. So many people, for their counseling activity, many people of course want to share their emotional stories and start a conversation. So it's that sort of concludes our Google survey. We got a lot of interesting answers from different demographics, and we also see how mental health care systems work in different demographics as well, like for students who are from private international schools and for students who are in public schools as well. So this survey has been a lot helpful for us, although the respondents are only 23, but yeah, that concludes our survey analysis. And so we'll be moving on to our next session.
Since Mimo has already shared our project survey results, so I'll continue to talk about our project activities. So as you can see, this is our average timeline. So like some kind of like assumption activities that we decided to do in this amount of time. So first of all, we're going to establish a network on social media sites, and then we decided to create some contents like articles and then short illustrated contents in both Burmese and then our traditional languages as well, and also English language. And then after having like publishing some kind of contents and articles, and then like we want to make some social psychology workshops by inviting some certified like speakers and then trainers, so to talk about our self-care, or maybe like creative writing workshops, and then also other topics like such as mental well-being. And afterwards, by combining like these workshops, we decided to make the community group for the participants or our potential audience, like to provide them opportunities to connect with professionals, because there's like some people, some students or young adults, they're studying psychology or they aspire to become like psychiatrists or like in the future. So I thought it would be also great if they kind of have like an opportunity to actually volunteers, listeners, like to provide back to your communities as well. And then lastly, also professional services, of course, they are really important. So for the services, commonly we decided to make like group counseling and individual counseling, and also including some therapy sessions with activities actually led by a therapist or like professional psychiatrist. So moving on, so this is kind of like the platforms that we chose to deliver. So we decided to like name our workshops like Ripple workshops, and then for networking rooms we named it like Amity Cafe. So like in networking rooms, it's just like mainly meeting with new people or like talking about our problems and like connecting with other like professionals or other new people and having meaningful conversations. So like for a new platform, we have like Kumu Space, and then also like Social Hour, because we really love the platform that we used in our previous VI event. And then for our contents, of course, like social media sites like Facebook, Instagram, and then Medium. All right, so lastly, these are kind of like a professional services, just as I have mentioned previously. That includes like individualized counseling and personal therapy solutions. And then if they want to like to talk about more or like further assessment, we can conduct them with professionals. And then Of course, like also another important session, which is like emotional support session. So in the emotional support sessions, there will be like small group counseling sessions for about 3 to 5 people in a room, and then there will be activities like healing games or emotions wheel or like some kind of like healing activities as well in the emotional support sessions. And well, that includes our presentation about our projects. So so thank you really for giving your attention and listening to our project. And so if you have any questions, please drop in the chat box or feel free to unmute and ask. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Team Rangoon, for sharing. As Noah has mentioned, we'll now move on to our Q&A session. So go ahead and please feel free to either unmute yourself or type in the chat.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, I want to ask, like, do you have any limit of the participants, like, for your program? Like, how many participants, like, you're going to do for that? Yeah.
Yeah, so all right, so we don't actually have limits on how many people that can participate, but for rooms like emotional support sessions and small group counseling sessions, we limit up to 3 to 5 people, and then at most 7 to 10 people for effective communication as well. So aside from those kind of counseling sessions, we don't have an like big of a limit for workshops and other activities. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that answered my question. Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
And thank you for asking.
Okay, and then we also have a question from Brad, and he's asking, what training will the peer-to-peer counselors receive?
Peer-to-peer counselors, as in like the participants who are participating in the workshops, or like the counselors who are going to support the sort of participants? I'm not
Yes,
really
the
sure.
counselors who will support them. Yes.
Oh, we are planning to reach out to like professional psychologists and therapists in Myanmar and actually sort of ask for their aid and partner with them to actually participate in the workshops so that we get the sort of professional help and the students can actually, participants, sorry, can actually learn and get a sort of a full experience.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah, sure. Sure, Yuki.
One thing that I think is really interesting is that, I think you mentioned that you want to integrate kind of mental health awareness in schools. So
Yeah.
that's like part of the kind of curriculum or maybe training for teachers. And I'm wondering, like, have you talked to teachers about, whether they, are like, what is their interest, I guess, in participating in that kind of thing? And the reason I ask is, sometimes I think, oh, it would be good for me to have that training because then I could help people. But then also I'm like, oh, but then if I have that training, if something happens, then I have to be responsible, like I have to help. So there's also kind of a responsibility that comes with having that training. So I'm kind of curious, like, what is the response from teachers or school people?
Being honest, we weren't really able to reach out to teachers in active service right now. We tried to, but I guess we weren't able to get the answers that we wanted. So it is a very interesting question to actually see the perspective of the teachers as well. Personally, I always wanted support from my teachers back in school when I was feeling very stressed out. I wanted my teachers to sort of notice and help me through it as well, because I looked up to them a lot. So but I suppose I didn't really see how much of a responsibility it is for teachers who are very new to this concept. Like it is a very new concept in Myanmar to integrate mental health sort of training and education in like the school curriculum as well, because many teachers are mostly taught to just, you know, teach lessons and, you know, sort of they weren't really from excuse me, from our like surveys, not really surveys, but from, you know, our understanding, many teachers aren't really sort of trained to interact well with students. They're trained to discipline them, but I guess not to sort of support them emotionally when it comes to these sort of, excuse me, these sort of situations. So that's also a very interesting perspective that we weren't really able to get in our survey. So if anyone here is a teacher, maybe like you guys can give us sort of a, if any of you worked as, you know, like a teacher before or anything, maybe you can give us a sort of a feedback, because there are a lot of people here in Myanmar as well, maybe like students or oh, I guess no one here is a teacher.
I work as a teacher. Yeah.
Oh, sure.
So
Sorry, I was like drinking coffee. That's why I can't speak for one. Sorry.
So I guess,
I guess-
Hamar, would you want to, I guess, receive that kind of training?
Sorry, I really don't understand the question. Like,
Oh,
can you
sorry.
repeat it? Yeah.
Yeah. So I was curious, like, if they had a chance to speak to teachers about, you know, whether they would be interested in receiving training about how to integrate like mental health support into their own curriculum, or, you know, instituting some programs at their schools. And, you know, I think there are a lot of teachers who would want to be supportive, but also
Yeah.
some teachers maybe who feel like, oh, that's a big responsibility, you know, like it's scary to take that responsibility. And Nimo was saying, you know, they didn't have a chance to get feedback from teachers. But since you're a teacher, I'm kind of curious, what is your first kind of response?
So for me personally, I think adding mental health as a school curriculum is like something that we really need to do. And also I personally like to have that in the classroom. We only have like, I in my previous experience, I have done like health education curriculum, but we cannot add like the mental health as the whole session. Like you need to combine with others, and mental health also come as one sectors. Like you can completely go like a mental health as one plain curriculums. So from my point of view, like this combining will be really good. Like, you know, because if you go plainly like mental health, mostly people will be like, we don't think mental health is needed for us, or sometimes like, you know, I'm super fine, why should I need to do mental health, you know? So we have, because we have like taboos and belief that, you know, mental health is, you know, we don't need to do something like that. So if you want to go to classroom, so combining with like health education or maybe life skill or something like that, combining mental health plus life skill, so they will come like, you know, oh my God, we're getting life skills, and we're also getting like healthy mental lifestyle. So I think that's my feedback. Yeah.
Wait, now I want to ask him a question as well. It turned into us being asked questions to us asking our audience questions. I'm really sorry, but you know, after you sort of receive this training, would you think that you'll be more likely to reach out to your students more and notice the changes in them? Because, you know, I'm sorry, what grade did you teach again? Like, are you like a freelance teacher or like a government school teacher, where you know?
I'm not a government school teacher, but I have like teacher students from every level, because I work as a like out of school children. So these are, their ages varies. Like some are even like the same age with me, some are even older than me. So like various level. So yeah.
So, back to my question, would you be more likely to reach out to your students and start a conversation with them if you noticed like mental health, maybe if you noticed some changes in them? Because, you know, it's a bit, like I said before, it's a bit of a touchy subject for most Myanmar people as well.
Mhm.
So you have to approach them in a very sensible way, and it's a very big responsibility for you as a teacher. So will you be, I don't know, like, would you like make the first step and you know, reach out to your students if you have the training to do so? Like, would you be confident enough to confide, like let them confide with you, like let them open up to you?
So if I am the one who's going to teach the mental health, most of the out of school children already have a traumatizing events in their minds, you know, because they're not from a very luxurious lifestyle family background. So most of them are come here to work, or they already face so many issues in their life. So they are mostly like a traumatized kid. So when I have to teach them the mental health, I am confident enough to do that. And the first thing I'm going to do is have them some fun, like, you know, do something like play in the classroom, just do what you want for a while. So after that, I want to let them know that these are the things you need to know, not just like, you know, for your what can I say, I'm teaching you guys because like you have some problem with your mental health. No, absolutely not. These are something I'm teaching you guys because you have to know that these are like basic mentatories of a human beings. So something like this I want to go with in this approach. Yeah. And I'm confident about it. Yeah.
Oh, your students are so lucky to have a teacher like you.
Oh, I'm lucky to have them too. Yeah.
Oh, I usually saw.
Okay, and then I think we have our last question will be from Kazuto.
Okay, yeah, thank you so much for sharing your project. And I think it's a really, really important subject to approach. And kind of related to what was just discussed now, I think it should be helpful for teachers to receive some training if they see, for example, a student struggling, or if they're approached, maybe how to initially react. But I also would caution that it is, because it's such a complex topic, that even though the teacher may have good intentions, you never know what triggers kind of more stress on the person. So just to share examples of what I see here in the schools where my children attend in California, they have like specialists at the school as counselors. And again, not all places can afford that, but just as a model, they have counselors at the school and actively let the students know that they're available. And just like in like middle school, high school is a difficult age, but now with COVID added, with people can't meet their friends, and I think there's a lot of emotional stress on those students. So I see the school kind of actively offering that to the students. I'm just going to share a link from my daughter's school where they list some resources. So as an example, you can see what's provided. But also what I noticed is, for example, my daughter has been having a difficult time with COVID and everything. So like as a parent, I would suggest, oh, maybe you can talk to the counselor at the school, but she refuses that because she thinks that's showing a sign of weakness and don't want to rely on others. So even though now resources available, again, depending on the person, they may not feel open to approach or reach out for help. And I really like what you said in your project of trying to kind of, knowing it's a taboo subject also in Myanmar, kind of the casual, friendly approach, and maybe create a space where they can share stories and come together. And I think that could work for some people. So I like that approach. But again, each individual has a different preference and kind of personality. So just keeping in mind the diversity and have different ways that people can access the services that you provide be probably good to consider. But again, I think I really like what you have planned, and look forward to hearing how it goes over the next several months. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for your feedback.
Thank you for your feedback.
It is interesting to, I guess, see this kind of view from a perspective from a different country as well. Because in our country, sure there are counselors, assigned counselors in some private schools, but for a vast majority of us, like I said, they aren't that sort of support in our like government schools. So we don't really understand the concept of actually having that sort of support in our school. So we don't really know if more students will be open to if we did have them. We don't know if more students will be open to them or more students will have a different reaction. So it's a, sort of helpful to see like a different perspective from someone who does have that sort of support.
Well, with that, we're now at the top of the hour. I just want to thank everyone for coming today and engaging in such a great discussion. Thank you to Team Rangoon for sharing of what you've been up to, and we really look forward to what you're going to do in the future. If you're interested in learning more about the team, VIA, or the Social Impact Leadership Accelerator program, please feel free to visit us at viaprograms.org/accelerator. I'll also put the link in the chat so you have it. You can just click on that and save it to your desktop. Okay, thank you so much, and we hope to see you all again soon.